see how future setups and plays work on this map. And it's something I think everyone in the scene is very, very looking forward to. Of course, sure,
Agreed.
we saw it at Blast, but that was sort of like, the finale of the season in the World Final, and we saw Dexter, of course, play so well on it. So, yeah, I think that 1v4 clutch around the pillars on the site, you may remember, which was always a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
I want to see more of that today.
I agree. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be Anubis. For the first time I get to cast Anubis in an official Eternal Fire start on that CT side. Partizan start on the T side. And already a little bit of presence over towards A as the bomb is slowly making its way over in that rough general direction. Couple of attacks coming through. Little bit messy. Kaluba and Emmy taking some damage. And Major just showing some presence as Calix opens things up.
Immor's found himself his position with the dualies on Anubis. He's getting mollied out of it though, and that puts him in a very tough situation, and he's gone. Collins overwhelms him, and that's a great flick to find X-Floud. He even takes himself a third as well. Collins gets that one, and Duplicate holds his flank. Major is gone and out of the round, and it's Calix 1v2. It's a very even one as well. Now just one player remaining. Collins with those 3 kills, looking for 4 to clutch it, holding a big off angle. Calix taking his time, and he hits the headshot. Calm, collected, cool. Calix takes the pistol for Eternal Fire.
Good start as well. Very good start for, well, I guess you can say for both sides as well in a sense, because Partizan would be more than happy taking a bomb plant. It is that silver lining that we like to talk about, but Eternal Fire starting the way they finished over towards their opponent's map pick with some success, building up a little bit of a lead and trying to make it a wealth of a lead. And of course, they have an AWP to work with heading into round number 2. So not often you even get to say that is a conclusive buy for Eternal Fire. Immor wielding the AWP, Major on MP9, and Fanbas double M4A1S to support. For Partizan, you see a somewhat full buy coming through, but here's a double Galil, 1 AK setup, and a couple of pistols to try and salvage this situation. So not exactly a dream, and it could come back to be a very uncomfortable situation as that takes an initial point of damage.
Yep. Little underpass area, of course, where so much action does actually come about. You have to dedicate a CT to this position, really. That's how, at least how I feel about it. Xantara is playing a bit more of an aggressive off angle toward the top of mid, of course. Those double doors that I mentioned. I do really enjoy playing the left side of those double doors. Collins coming up, flash coming in. Xantara is ready and takes him out. Looking for a second. Flashbang support from X-Cloud, and he sees the second as well. Immediate switch to the AK. And he's done his job. Off toward a site to help out elsewhere. Giving Xantara an AK so early on in the CT side is always a bit scary.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely looking like it should be a clean round for Eternal Fire to see off X-File to be tested. In comes the utility, the rotation. That could be beckoned over just yet. The Molotov will tick him, and it falls down to Kaluba. Xantara is going to be tested with the AK, and it'll come up trumps as it's a Kaluba double.
Are we about to see the same pattern as map 1? It was back and forth with the force by battles. But Immor is looking to try and make that a possibility anymore for Partizan. Kaluba has the FAMAS, Emmy has the Galil, the 2 lesser rifles on the CT and T sides, and they've only got 68 points of health between them. Kaluba holding the line, just looks away, and now he's under a lot of pressure. Emmy could have a flank, but Kaluba somehow gets 2 from the mid-site pillar. How on earth has he got away with that one? Major doesn't have a defuse kit. He has to get out of there. Emmy has an AWP to pick up as well, and I think he's going to be able to escape with it. That is the perfect outcome for Partizan.
My God, what a round for Partizan to somehow turn in their favour. I mean, everything is perfect. They're walking away with a round in their favour off the back of a pretty minimal buy. And an AWP is just a cherry on top too. That is a stunning one to turn in their favour. From being such a real janky investment coming through to somehow turn that in their favour. And Eternal Fire, looking at the buy they're bringing to the table, it is so heavy. They're bringing in the AWP, rifles on board as well, and it's so conclusive across the board.
Yeah.
And for them to fall flat, that is really dire because it set them so significantly back heading into round number 3. I mean, they're opting with the double MP9 and just a few pistols to try and find some salvation.
Yeah, and the wildest thing, of course, is now is you don't see a round 2 AWP too much. Immor lost it, and now it's in the hands of Roger. So, yeah, that is not exactly ideal. Xantares is absolutely determined with all his might to take down the player that he knows he's put low HP, but there's a second there to defend against it. Xcloud will recover that MP9, but Kaluba will recover with his life, with 12 HP to spare. Back toward mid. Tunnel Fire maybe looking for a bit more of a stack toward the A bomb site. Or toward the B bomb site, sorry. I'll have to get used to those actually over time. Is the site that feels a little bit like B, where a solo hold can often be enough. But you just have to be wary of mid. There's so many little paths that you can see Calyx coming through now that you have to be wary of, and he's put himself in the defensive position to stop that for now. But it's a 4v5 after all.
Emmy slowly creeping his way forward. Trying to find a bit of space. Molotov will clear the close angle. Nothing to be spotted there, and in comes that bit of information. Duplicate, nice shot. Continues to just open a little bit of space. Emmy finding so much room to work with that AK-47, and they've cleared the whole site. Bomb will go down.
That was really well played. I mean, they didn't rush into it. They had everyone going toward the stack that Eternal Fire had ready for them. They had players baiting in other players to those cubby positions as well at the back of the site. And Partizan just took their time. They picked them off one by one. Really, really well weaseled out. Calyx having to save his deal and his Kevlar. It's all that I'll have for this next round. And of course, in the early stages of this map, we have said and have seen in most games, to be fair, that it feels a bit T-sided. Feels, in general, maybe 60-40, maybe 70-30 even, T-sided at the professional level. So I would say that 5 or 6 CT rounds probably would be pretty decent half for Eternal Fire. But we have to see, of course, how this map transpires over the course of the next 3 months or so. Kato, of course, coming up.
Yeah.
Pro League coming up. Various blast events coming up. It'll be exciting to see how it integrates in.
It is going to be it's going to be very interesting to see kind of which of the tier 2 and tier 1 sides really take this under their belt and use Anubis as, well, I guess their win factor at times in some way, the same way Copenhagen Flames did way back when Ancient was introduced.
Doesn't
so far, the Partizan. No, yeah. It feels like it was only around the corner, but what was it? About a year and a half now? Maybe a little bit less than that. But it's been, I can't remember when Ancient was introduced, but it's probably been a hot minute. I'm not sure if it was it prior to Stockholm? No, after Stockholm.
I think it might have been. I mean, my memory logs are a little bit, all over the place sometimes. But I remember souvenir stickers from Stockholm on the Ancient Collections weapon skins. So. Listen, we'll get corrected in chat. In comes the pistol rush, and I'm afraid Kaluba cannot handle it. So that's going to be a free gun toward the hands of Major. Unfortunately, Xantares is already out of the round, so he can't have it. But Major's full health, so the one person that should have it does have it. But Partizan, of course, realised that the opposite side of the map is completely clear. They saw at least 3 in that scenario. And as Xcloud wanders through CT now, I'll give you a chance to have a little discussion about this particular position of the map, because I always get spooked, right? I mean, every time I walk through that position, I think that this little connector area that is like an extra path towards CT is a place that I have to worry about, But in reality, Ts have to get such deep control to make that an issue you have to be concerned about. So, yeah, it takes a lot of muscle memory and learning when you play it and watch it. So we shall see how it works out for Eternal Fire. They did pick it, of course.
I did well. Just yes, I did just have a little look, and this made me feel just old in a way. I don't know why, but it was so the map was introduced into the map pool around the 4th of May 2021. So a long old time ago now. And just prior to the RMR events of CS Summit and Flashpoint. Wow. Oh. That was, my gosh, a long old time ago. A different scene back then.
Yeah, I'll just take the opportunity to say, CS Summit, I miss you. But yeah, Pretty crazy. Looks like Major's lining up a grenade there to get the deepest throw possible. It's sort of a lineup on the bricks, so it goes as far as he deems necessary. But yeah, this is a big round for Eternal Fire. And of course, usually, you know, when you pick a map, you start T-side, right? That tends to be how it goes. But I'm pretty sure that the pick that they've chosen is CT or T instead, right? Is that how it works?
No, it is. Yeah. But Partizan have gone for the T-side pick here. So I think it's very interesting. You know, what is the reason behind it? Of course, you know, so far setting the tempo, it seems to be working. Yeah. Because they're looking like they might be finding a fourth in a moment. But I think generally picking into that T-side is very risky.
It is, but maybe they just realise that at the moment, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, that in general this map is quite heavily favoured T. So
yes, yeah.
They're thinking to themselves, okay, let's try and get as many rounds as possible on the board early on. And as I said, not their pick. That's exactly why I'm having this discussion. So it is an interesting factor. And this round still has an interesting factor as well. Nice lineup there from the smoke from Collins. It's information, but Immor, unfortunately, needs more information for kills because he's got no armor. The AWP was a glass cannon only, and the fact he goes down with nothing means it's going to be a free 4 for Partizan.
This is a little bit messy for Eternal Fire. They're in a really precarious spot now. I mean, they're not exactly loving life in the server. I think that's probably the best way to put it. They're currently down by 3 rounds, and well, it's looking like maybe only Xantaro's be the one to save. In towards the next. Kaluba's going hunting. You'll find the first. It's a question and a case of can Xantaras keep that fabled AK-47 in his hands? If he can, it's a possibility of maybe somewhat of some success in towards the next. If he can hunt it, it's messy. Flash will come through, and Kaluba sees it off. If he's around from him, 2 exit kills to see it off. Does Partizan find their 4th and extend the lead to 3 rounds?
Yeah, that was a big kill as well. It means that Xantares doesn't have anything scary to work with, and that's why Partizan hunted for it. They had the money. Look at that. Roger's already on quintuple digits, so they knew they could go for it and feel comfortable with it as well. And it's such a big threat to remove, especially when it's Xantares on the gun. So well played. This is the perfect start from Partizan at the moment. Partizan are a football club, am I correct saying that? They are, right?
I think so. Off the top of my head, I feel like it rings a bell. I'm not exactly sure of the origins, let's say. We're going to have a little look-see. But, Belgrade. There we go. Partizan. In Serbia. There we go.
There we go.
Serbian football club.
Yeah, I
You're absolutely spot on.
I thought it rang a bell. I knew it was...
Are they?
Club. And there's a couple that are like that, aren't they? I mean, we had a chat about Casa, the Brazilian team, yesterday, didn't we? So,
yeah, owned by Man United's very own Casemiro. There's EC Club Bruges as well. They're also a footy team. I know there's a few. There's a fair few kicking about. I mean,
kicking about.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, see what they're there. I wouldn't know too much about Partizan, my team, Liverpool. We're normally up there in the Champions League, so we you know we're the Real Madrids and the PSGs of the world. Maybe not next season. But.
No, I mean, as an Arsenal fan right now, I'm relatively happy. So
yeah, you're loving life. Too right.
Anyway, Kaluba and Duplicate, the Bulgarian duo, of course, used to play for Skade. I think most Bulgarian players had a stint on Skade or Fate. You may know that team as well at some point. And it's nice to see them having some success on a more of an international roster rather than in their regional scene. I always was a bit of a fan of Duke. He's a very good player. Got himself another kill toward Major as well. He has gone for what could be classed as a hero M4. He had 45-50, I believe, in the bank toward the beginning of this round. So we brought up that and Kevlar, and we're already seeing how clean he can be. Sure, he doesn't expect Emmy as well. Oh my goodness. This is why you don't face Xantares when he's got a rifle. This is why they wanted to clear him out in the previous round. That is just 3 disgusting kills. The third being all the more ridiculous. And thanks to those 3 kills, he has an AWP to try and save.
My God. I mean, what a lovely Little triplet there from Xantares. I mean, his crosshair placement is just scarily accurate. But I mean, it is just, it's a nicety with no real effect overall. Money is still absolutely flourishing over towards Partizan. They're running away with the rounds too. I mean, it's not exactly like anything is looking too pretty right now for the CT side. There's the moments of brilliance from Xantares, like that round individually, but overall, it's not exactly been fantastic, may I say. And, you look towards players like xCloud, yet to get off the board. Immor's only on 1 kill. It's already a dream when your riflers aren't stepping up. They are seriously struggling on CT side to get control of this map. And credit to Partizan, we really didn't know what this side was going to be like heading into this map, but they're looking actually very comfortable.
Yeah, it's looking impressive, and the T-side start is working out for them at the moment. I just saw chat as well that, of course, a team in this very tournament, Genk, is also a football club.
Oh, yes. No, you are right.
Team, so, there you go. How dare I forget them. Straight through mid, this is an interesting play. And Xantares has been given no chance whatsoever. Maybe he's not entirely fully aware. He could be spotted. A bit of a barrel on that corner. They're going into a pretty significant stack on the A-bomb site right now. There's one player here, but Emmy's coming in on a late lurk, and xCloud had no idea. The spacing from Partizan there. Catching Eternal Fire off guard. Another 3v2 and a tough retake with no kit.
This feels impossible. I mean, this feels already sort of dead in the water. Trying to get some space over towards the site on a retake with the numbers are in your advantage. It just feels impossible. I think they've got to call this early doors once again and just go for a save call. It's really unfortunate to say, but they cannot afford it. I mean, looking over towards that long-term economy, it's dire. They want something to work with into the next. It's looking like they might just play exits here. Try and see if they can catch one in rotation, but Emmy will just slip the net. And Calyx, I don't think he's going to be able to make too much of a difference. He does hit a couple of bunny hops. Maybe the AWP possibly could be dropped off, but now he'll double back. And actually, in fact, Calyx will fall. This is already getting extremely messy. So messy. For Eternal Fire. I'm going to say, Trav, I'm getting worried.
Yeah, I mean, worried. I'll be worried if the Eternal Fire can't get 5 on the half. And at the moment, I think even 11-4 might be a little bit too far gone. I think I'd be more confident in their T side than their CT side, I would say. I mean, I'm not just saying that from what I've seen already, but I just, in general, the way this map is, I think really we don't know what is average half yet. We've seen such a small pool of instances to look at. Just in general, we know it's slightly T-sided. But yeah, it's a perfect start from Partizan. They could be pushing us through to a decider. A decider we haven't even really spoken about, which is Nuke, by the way.
Yes.
And that's a good map, or a semi-decent map for Eternal Fire as well. So you never know. Don't forget, this is still the upper bracket, so there is a lower bracket for whoever loses this. They're not eliminated from the chance of Pro League.
Nuke is my favourite map, so no complaints for me if we do end up going towards it. But for Eternal Fire, they would have looked at how things panned off the back of map number 1 and thought, okay, well, this is, it's ours to lose, really. Already got our opponent's map pick. We're going into our pick. Look where we are now. Immor will just get out of dodge slightly. Pop shot taken. Not going to find success and falling back. Doesn't want to overextend because there's actually not a lot of firepower for Eternal Fire to work with.
Yeah, it's interesting how Partizan have changed things up in the early stages of this, right? Because we've seen general executes and a couple of pushes as a group, but that round they won previously was just that straight push through the 2 mid doors. And while Xantares was there defending it, one player was not enough. And now he's here once again. MP9, he's desperate for a second, knowing that he's still got a decent amount of bullets in the clip. But Roger's AWP is too strong. The flash assist was perfect for the first one. Sent him in good time. But in the meantime, Emmy is looking toward the A-bomb site. Immor is here. The timing doesn't work in his favour because they're both shifting at the moment. He's going to have to scope, and there's the information, but he finds Roger. That's a big pick, but Emmy is still lurking all the way around the back. A free kill. Oh, it almost wasn't. Switch around was almost in time. 2v2.
Bomb collected. What's the decision? It's looking like maybe actually might double back over towards that B site. It's the right call too. Colin's got space to work with. The B site's vacant. And they do have a bit of time to work with. So it's not exactly like they need to go loud. But they will anyway. Bomb should follow suit. Will go down momentarily. Cole's going to set himself up into an aggressive post plant. This is a really good call. A turn of fire. They're going to have to backtrack so quickly. It's brutal. Really well played once again from Partizan. Their mid-round has been perfect.
Yeah, and this, as you say, this advanced position from Collins is going to be in no way... Oh, okay. Why do I speak, man? I was about to say in no way expected, and Major finds it. So now it's all down to Emmy. You may remember him as a player on Contact and FPX. He was a coach for a period on those two teams as well. He's not the man that you necessarily expect to step up on Partizan, but he's going to need to do so now. Bomb tap will come in. No kit on either by a player. And Calix holds his teammates back. That kill had to come through because that would have been around for the Partizan boys. Because the time on the bomb was completely almost gone. That 10-second defuse is a long one, isn't it? But Eternal Fire escape and get 2.
Well, I mean, at least for Eternal Fire, there's some positives to talk about. There's some nice things that we can discuss and say, hey, you know, it's not a dead in the water map so far. But I'm still not convinced by any shadow of a doubt, right? I mean, there's still not exactly been consistency, consecutive rounds on the board, or Eternal Fire looking fantastic across the board. It's only really been the Xantares show at times, and even he's still only neutral. Partizan boost coming through in towards mid. Collins looking for the elevated angle off the back of the flashbang. This could work wonders, but nothing to be spotted just yet. Xantares sticking around.
Close smoke, but it's actually deeper than Emmy's position, so Emmy could catch off Xantares here. If he throws one more piece of utility, I think Emmy will pounce while he's trying to withdraw his gun. There's the timing. He has to escape. He's now in trouble with Xantares. Flicks around perfectly. If there's one player for this position, it would be Xantares, and he gets away with his life and that one kill. Big stuff to get Eternal Fire back into this half. Even Calix, though, Major will have to go on a reface to take that kill, and that wasn't guaranteed. A bit spaced out on that trade. They get away with it and retain the man advantage.
Kalubanite's holding. It's a good call. Hold, wait, and see if he can catch Eternal Fire member overextending. But speaking of exactly that, Immor will step up. Collins to fall, and as this smoke dissipates, Kaluba's life starts to go up in the air.
Yeah, this is basically impossible with the bombers. The player is close to that, but Major does go hunting. It might give Partizan a very slim lifeline. Bomb has now been collected. Xcloud is in task with holding A, and at the moment, he's the only one here. Here's both players, and he can't get the first. That's unfortunate timing on that swing, and now Immor's been found by Kaluba. The round has turned on its head, and Xantares, who fought for his life early round, is now low HP on the retake. He spots the first. Roga has to hop away, but both players are so incredibly low. The Molotov will keep him at bay, and then Kaluba comes in to help out. Oh, unfortunately, you can only really pin the blame, though, on one player, and that was Xcloud. It wasn't entirely his fault. They were switching between two angles, and it was tough to guess, but he needed one at least, and he couldn't get it.
My gosh, for Eternal Fire, it just keeps going from kind of bad to worse at the moment, doesn't it? It's just not looking comfortable or consistent. Partizan, already, this T-side is looking very scary. We were questioning ourselves, you know, not only what are the Eternal Fire going to look like on their map pick, but what are Partizan going to look like? Do they have team practice on this map? How much time have they put in since it was added to the pool? And I think it's safe to say they have put in a hell of a lot of work in towards Anubis so far, because they are looking very, very clean. I mean, very few rookie mistakes being made by Partizan, where on the other side, Eternal Fire, their pick isn't working. This goes back to what I was saying pre-map, right? Is this Eternal Fire going for a punish pick without really realizing, you know, what their opponents are actually even any good on this map, and this could come back to bite them? Well, it looks like it will at the moment. Immor, at the very least, will start off round number 10 on a nice note.
Yeah, it's a pretty strange buy. It's a different weapon on every single one of the Eternal Fire players. AWP, Silence M4, Deagle, MP9, AUG, of all weapons, which is still relatively viable, I will say. It's not the, even post-nerf, it's not, which obviously is quite a long time ago now, it's not really that bad at all. The Krieg is obviously a lot worse, I would say. It's not really used as much anymore due to the low fire rate, but the AUG is okay. It can be very effective. Partizan now 3v5. Nice jump throw Molotov. That does clear out some of the cubby, and that will force him more wide. And that's further back. There's the first, using the flames to his advantage, and again, more kills coming back in Partizan's favour. But unfortunately, oh no. Now Major's shown his hand. I was about to say, unfortunately, Collins does not know Major's here, but now he does. Tries to swing for it, gets it, but thankfully Major does a fantastic job of wasting so much time that xFloud recovers it and bails out his blushes from the previous round and wins the 1v1. 3 on the board for Eternal Fire.
Needed a miracle. Really needed just something that we can sit here post-round. And speaking of positive note about, I think you're spot on, right? I think the SG definitely got the worst of the two. I think the AUG is still, in my opinion, completely viable. I think, especially if it's on scope, that spray control is very easy, generally speaking. Even, in my opinion, easier than the M4A4. So a lot of people do like to use that. We've seen Carrigan use it quite considerably as well. As xFloud, we'll take a look in. It'll be coming through. We'll drop a Molotov off the back of it. Doesn't want to overextend. Smartly played for a guy who's been a little bit on the quiet side.
Yeah, indeed. Did well to win that previous round at least. Major baiting him in perfectly. This is a big round though. If they can win this one and maybe the next one as well, their economy will look better and Partizans will be in the bin. So the even half is still very much on. So Antares wanting to play super aggressive, using the smoke to his ability, but it's being watched. That is why the defaults on T side Anubis is so interesting, because you need a player looking at that sometimes if there's a deep smoke in action. You need a player behind the smoke in case to just go straight through it. As Antares being tasked with the mid area. It sort of reminds me of Jaguar on Ancient a little bit. An angle where you have to look left and right. Down and up.
No, I agree. There's some similarities for sure. I think this the map design is very interesting. It's very different to what we've seen kind of previously. We're taking a step down. Molotov will be extinguished. He finds the first look at making a double. Can't quite step up, and now just a sliver of HP to work as he falls. And the rotation being beckoned over as the bomb dropped and eagle wielded. But still, Emmy stays alive somehow. 2 points of HP. Yeah,
xFloud staring at his teammates, saying to them, guys, I need to reload. Please bail me out. And they're about to. That was a well-played hold by Immor and xFloud. Both of them actually being on the site made that completely unexpected for Partizan. Usually you expect one player up, one player maybe mid, one player in the heaven area on the right-hand side. Quite often the Orpo is in that position, of course. But Immor and xFloud are playing off each other on the site. And that's the way to do it.
It worked. Finally, Trav. Finally, we're seeing a little bit more consistency and I guess just, positive notes from Eternal Fire, because that initial start was grim. I think that's probably the only way to put it. There was very little from them. They looked confused. They really struggled in terms of mid-rounding and reading what Partizan are doing. Now they're at least taking a lot more of those fights and winning out those Angels. Major doesn't quite catch Kluber crossing. There's a bit of space to work with, but generally for Partizan, are much slower around here.
Yeah, they're very intent on making this boost work in mid, of course. You need a second player, and you can have a slight sight line above the smoke into this position that Antares might be peeking in a split second. Deep again, he's on the big off angle, but they just can't move from this position. Another headshot, a third headshot from Antares. Do you expect anything less? Three kills from him. He makes it look so easy. And now Duplicate is last alive.
I think the Duplicate, not long live for this world, surely. Spotted. Now he definitely has. Swing come through. 4 remaining alive. That's a really good round for Eternal Fire. Good control. And I think with Partizan, unfortunately for them, well, the idea about slowing down the tempo just a little bit and trying to play for kind of a more methodical approach is nice. It actually works against them.
Yeah.
They do their best work when they play aggressive, in-your-face Counter-Strike, not allowing the CT side to get any sort of control or comfortability. That's when Partizan are as scary as what we've seen in the initial opening stages of Anubis. But unfortunately, it wasn't exactly to be in that round. And now we're going to step on the tempo a little bit. Look at this.
Here we go. Fast play with the pistols. Duplicate with the Tech 9 gets the opening toward Immor. But Alex is doing a great job of staying alive right now. He's baiting in Major. But the wide swing Tech 9 is so hard to deal with. Thankfully, Antares is on the scene again. I mean, he and xFloud to try and figure it out. Great trade from Collins. Now it's xFloud. 1 versus 1. He knows where Collins was last positioned. He's picked up the M4. And he has the bomb on his back, so he can make a decision on what to do right now. xCloud is coming in from behind at the moment, and Collins is refusing to budge. Knife out. Oh, this is going to be scary. This is going to be scary. Oh, my goodness. Can you believe it? He's walked straight past him. I have no words. Unlucky, I guess.
Honestly, what a weird round. But just as I was saying it comes to life. Partizan do their best work when they step up the tempo. And what wins them that round? Just lights out Counter-Strike. They fly on towards the B side, and that's where they find the success. Partizan just need to keep pushing to the agenda of being aggro, quick, and shutting down so much early momentum. That's how they play their best work, and well, we've seen exactly that.
I don't know how to feel about that position, because obviously, one, we don't necessarily know what res xCloud plays. Two, we don't know whether he plays right-handed or left-handed. Because if he plays 4x3 and plays right-handed, there is no way you would have seen Collins waiting there. I think on our widescreen, obviously the best res, probably we saw the edge of the gun barrel, the silencer of the M4 perhaps, but unfortunately not for him. 4v4 in the following round. Eternal Fire need a bounce back, and they need it quickly. Losing a round like that is always a bit painful.
And now what's the plan? A lot of info heard by Calyx. He heard two players rotate back, and the bomb making its way down mid. Does he expect the two players close? Hopefully, holds down the fort. Calyx will fall either way. Emmy, great shot from him, and a Molotov comes through, denies rotation.
Again. They're doing such a great job of weaseling out these players, right? They're just finding them in every single position, it feels like, on this particular site. Major does get one with a grenade, but Duplicate insta-trades it again, and once again, xCloud is trying to pounce, and he gets caught by Roga, switching back, hits the dink, but no more. Partizan have at least a 9-6 on this half, but as I said, Eternal Fire at least have 5. That might be enough. We shall see.
Potentially, right? I mean, we saw a 10-5, right? Over towards the other side, and Eternal Fire, a 10-5 half made it work. 10-5 again in favor of Partizan this time. Might be enough if Eternal Fire can kickstart that momentum on T side. It's just been unconvincing so far. That's the only thing for me. I'm not really kind of settled that Eternal Fire have this map as a kind of a comfortable notch under their belts. In a way that actually Partizan sort of do look like it. I mean, their T side has been relatively convincing. Very aggressive, very good at winning their aim duels. Their map control has been pretty sublime too. I think the only thing that's cost them at times is when they've slowed the tempo down, they've allowed Eternal Fire to set up their util and set up the crossfires and all of the same. Aside from that though, I think this has been a relatively one-sided affair. I think Eternal Fire quite rightfully should be a little bit nervous at the very least right now.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Partizan looking to try and get a double-digit half. Don't forget, Eternal Fire had a 10-5 on Inferno. Partizan want to hand a 10-5 straight back to them. Sees the information, hits at least one shot through the door. Wants to fall back toward A. Immor, ooh, hasty. Next shot is up close with the MP9 as well, getting baited in. There are 3 players coming his way. He's found one. Oh, what a pre-5 from Duplicate. Gives xCloud no chance whatsoever. Even though Major gets one, it's only going to be one, because he's being locked out from the site by Kaluba. Great stuff from Partizan. This is a solid T side. We don't know what the average is necessarily on Anubis as of yet, but we know it's a vaguely T-sided map. So I think a 10-5 would be a pretty good half for both teams to be content with. Calyx has no chance in this one. He's 31 points of health, needs 2 insta-taps. And he doesn't know there's a player up to his top left as we look. Has to make noise dropping down. No kit. This one is said and done. And we're going into the half at 10-5 for Partizan. Emmy finishes the job. And it was a 10-5 for Eternal Fire. Now it's a 10-5 for Partizan. We'll be back in a minute or two. Underway. 10-5 for Partizan. They go on to what is considered the slightly less overpowered CT side. So let's see if they can finish this map off. It was 10-5 to Eternal Fire on map 1. They completed the job. Can Partizan, Neo?
Yeah, this is really tough. I mean, it's tough just generally as casters, right? Because we have very little information about this. Of course, we've seen this map played in one tournament at a blast just prior to Christmas. But aside from that, we really don't know where it really leans at the moment. Partizan on fire are leaning towards A and they're flying in.
Oh, they are flying in, but I'll tell you who's flying. It's Kaluba and Duplicate. One behind the pillar, one up toward heaven. And it works for a couple of kills. Imor's got one bullet left in the clip and he can't connect with it. So Kaluba finds him too. Major waiting for the flank. There are two players coming his way. Now it's all down to xCloud. They know exactly where he is. He's fighting his way out pretty nicely, but of course he does not have the bomb, which is the big issue. But Partizan now, after those two kills, have to play it slightly more careful.
Slow. What does xCloud do? He's had a slow performance so far. Needs something special.
Unlucky.
Unfortunately, not to be. Not to be. He needed a bit of a masterclass there, the 1 versus 2. And that's Partizan continuing to be very impressive. Over towards, well, now it's now their CT side, and maybe it's a case of just Partizan being good on the map rather than being, you know, more T-sided or more C-sided or whatever.
They are good.
Partizan are just looking, yeah, they're looking very decent so far. I've got to say, there's been a lot of great things to talk about for Partizan. Unfortunately for Eternal Fire, it's been a slow performance, especially off the back of how good their Inferno looked at times. This is really quite dire. It's been pretty quiet pretty much across the board aside from Xantares. This is the only real shining light over towards that Eternal Fire side, and at times, you know, just generally speaking for Eternal Fire, that seems to be the case.
Yeah, well, he does have the best spots, of course, on the team, and for good reason. He is their best player. I don't think anyone would argue with that. It's just sometimes it can feel like only him. But too hard a carry. So just need to see if they can build up some sort of run on T side and put some pressure on the CT economy. Wow, Rogo's taking no prisoners. And going straight in with the USP, and he even gets himself 4 to finish it off. That's super nice. And of course, that builds up the cash for the future AWP as well. That's the one situation where I don't mind seeing a player pushing hard, risking losing a gun when you want that extra cash.
Yeah.
And now, Partizan, Neo, have a bonus round to play with 2 MP9s and 3 FAMASs. If they can win this one, then we get truly worried for Eternal Fire.
I mean, if they win this one, in my eyes, they've won. I don't really see a world in which that Eternal Fire can make a comeback of that sort of caliber, you know, work in their favor from a side that's really struggled so far. Nades coming through from the CT side, nothing to be found at the back of them as Eternal Fire will just pump the brakes ever so slightly. More. Test those waters. Does spot the shoulder of one, but thankfully it's going to fall away. The smoke is dropped.
They try the boost as well. Saw Collins try this on Partizan's T side. Didn't really work out for a kill, but starting to be one of the more common early boosts on Anubis. But yeah, if Partizan can find a way to win the round with the weaponry they have, then as you so rightly say, I feel like that's the first nail in Eternal Fire's Anubis coffin. Xantares creeping in, clearing out all the angles. He plays his position on CT side, so he knows exactly where to look. But he needs an entry somehow, and Partizan are not giving up anything at the moment. Kaluba just having a bit of a sight line. We saw him pull off those really 2 clean FAMAS kills on T side when he picked up the gun to hold off the Eternal Fire retake, which was a big factor as to how successful their first half was. 30 seconds now. And Eternal Fire looks like B is the call. Creeping back. There are 3 players on A, so the big rotation is going to have to come in, and now they can hit all the utilities. And Torres finds Collins, and that should be the opener. Emmy is in a big predicament. Major checks the smoke, as he so rightly should. He gets his just reward. Duplicate finding Xantares. Shouldn't be an issue for Eternal Fire. With Duplicate so low, I'm expecting a save.
xCloud, this is tough. I think as long as he doesn't get a test early doors, they should see us one off. No bother for Partizan. Well, we were hopeful maybe that a bonus could be converted of open the story up to looking towards Nuke, we can maybe slow things down momentarily, right? I think they're more than happy to kind of wield an AK double fast in towards the next. The buy around it's going to be a little bit weird. Roger can drop, but if he wants utility, it might be a little bit all over the place. It will be a force buy, I know that about it. Just how do they want to wield this? I'm assuming Roger drops over maybe a fast himself towards like some Emmy and picks himself up an M4, something along those lines. No, an open fight. Okay. So a real hefty investment coming through. Not even really playing they're going a full send here, but that has been the Partizan way the entire way through Anubis. They've been holding W and it's been working wonders. I like the idea here. Got an AKM4 to wield with, double FAMAS, an AWP in the hands of Roger. I like this.
I do like it. This is a pretty good buy. That shows that three-man save was certainly very worth it. Roger going ready to mid with that AWP. It's like such a tight sight line position of the map. Major making sure that pillar, which will do a lot of damage so far, will be removed. But he can pop himself straight through the smoke, actually. And the utility being lifted on the site everywhere. Unfortunately for Duplicate, he tries to show himself with the help of the Kluber flashbang, but he shows himself directly into the Major MAC-10. So this is a good start now for Eternal Fire. I mentioned they need a couple of rounds in a row to start putting pressure on the CT early on. And at the moment, with how the site is being laden with utility, with those nades that can come through the site, the skyboxes and the skylights, I guess I should say, is the correct term for it. Right now, it looks like they have a few really tasty set plays, right?
Yeah, and I agree. There's definitely starting to seem like there's this method to the madness over towards at the very least. I mean, one will fall, so an AK scooped up by Collins should be okay saving on the way out, so no real issues there. But overall, maybe this is going to be a little bit more of a closer affair than we initially anticipated. I was sort of already started to kind of internally chalk this one up to being maybe a little bit done and too far gone. The question of too little, too late, already ringing out pretty true. And, maybe we just start internally looking towards Nuke a little bit. But no, I mean, Eternal Fire, there is definitely at least a little bit of something there. Of course, money to go over towards Partizan, so not exactly the end of the world there. Of course, the fairly decent saves they've got to work with over the last couple of rounds, it means that they can just sort of continuously force buying and continuously pushing that agenda. But, yeah, it's very interesting. Eternal Fire, at least making this competitive in a way which I didn't really expect.
Yeah, and 12-7 really isn't that big a gap at all, right? Especially if they win this round and break the Partizan economy once and for all. I think, yeah, it could easily be 12-9 at the snap of a finger. Quick timeout for Partizan to try and have a chat about things. How do they want to change their setup? Because if they're going to have just 2 players toward A, and mainly just 1 on the site itself, they're going to be in trouble if executes come their way like that. Here we go. Zantara is using the clouds to line up his smoke.
Well, very quiet now. I mean, initial points of utility coming through. It's looking like the core here by Eternal Fire is towards B. Pops on the AWP, doesn't find its mark, and seconds of asking, missing 2, and now he's tucked in a horrible corner. Nades will rain through, and surely he'll fall.
My goodness, absolutely peppered with grenades, and there we go. The combination of the damage, the grenade, and then finally the Molotov from Calix finishes off Partizan's AWPer. There are still 2 players ready and raring on the site, and a third is rotating in as well. Eternal Fire taking their time, not wanting to do an overzealous peak of just 1 pick. Waiting to see if there's a flank coming in from behind. Immor, that's a big frag to take. He finds Kaluba on that rotation. He was a player that came through mid to help out the 2 players on the site. And he's been removed. As Antares is waiting for any mid information as well. That 1 step that he just made probably would have been heard by Collins. And now he's certainly been heard. But it looks like they are committing toward B. And right now the only player there is Emmy. Up across the map. If you can get yourself 2 kills, that would be amazing, but when you're getting swung on by basically the entire Eternal Fire squad, you've got no chance. And that means that the save has to be called.
Yeah, surely now, right? Bomb goes down with too many live towards Partizan. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can really have to work with this. An exit frag collectors, him all will fall, but is he going to make a difference in the long term? The grand scheme? No, not at all. They do have to just try and fall away. And Exile is going for a bit of a hunt and might actually get a bit of time to work with. He potentially could catch Collins. Back turn. Will look the right way. Spots with the right time as well. Collins thought he just got out of dodge. Little did he know that X-File was lurking and waiting in the shadows. Only one remains. It's just duplicates. And he should be fine to save here, realistically. X-File still looks for that final one in the hunt. Find him? The answer's no. Duplicate will see him off.
Yeah, not a bad risk to take, though. I mean, as we've said already, look at the money on Eternal Fire. I mean, Calyx, before he bought up in this round, was on quintuple digits. So, yeah, worth the risk to take down the final rifle, considering it was an AK as well. May as well take that gamble to remove it. But now, this is the situation. Partizan, half buy with that saved gun. Eternal Fire in the ascendancy at the moment. I said 12-9 is a possibility. This is their chance to take it and make the end of this second half very interesting indeed.
Torres, hello.
Wow.
That's aggressive. I love that start. I mean, of course, just pistols they're coming against, but setting the tone early doors. Calyx might be able to have one to his tally too. Kaluba just on the other side of the top of the doors. Who will spot who first? It's Kaluba, in fact.
Oh, that was scary. Second there. He's being faced by Collins. Has to hop over and get a fresh gun. Thankfully, that second AK that Duplicate saved is on the ground, so doesn't have to commit to a reload. Can just go straight for the switch. But he didn't get faced anyway, so he was safe. I think the flash from Kaluba, which tried to help out that mid position of Duplicate, in the end forced Duplicate to look away with that rifle, so unfortunately that couldn't be set up properly. But right now, Partizan are choosing the correct site to stack. P250 and 2 Deagles with 4 players coming their way. Flashbang's really good, but unfortunately just couldn't get it done quick enough, and in the end they find every player who was in position. X-Cloud finding the last, hidden behind the cheese on the site. That was suggested by Tom, I believe. Pigeon, our good friend, fellow caster.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not actually sure what you should call the middle circular bit on the site, and he said just call it cheese. And I kind of get that, but I don't think it's going to catch on.
Cheese wheel. I like it. No. I feel like it might not, but I like it. I like it. 12-9. Getting closer. Tactical timeout called it for Partizan. What started off looking like it was the beginning of the end on their CT side, it's been a little bit quiet since, really. I think we're seeing some real good work coming out from Eternal Fire and maybe actually confirming our suspicions that this is, in fact, just T-sided, generally speaking. Yeah. I mean, we really weren't too sure. I mean, off the back of Blast, just a month or so ago, we were, we'd seen moments of it, but you never really know. You need a good kind of few months under your belt. And I think after the back of, ESL Conference, Pro League, and, Challenger League as well, that's when we can really start to make kind of conclusive statements about how one-sided or what side this map even is. But so far from this specific series between these two teams, it's looking more prevalent over towards that C side.
Sure. One thing I can confirm for you guys is that on the A stream, we have our winner. Sprout have beaten Falcons 2-0, and it was a nice debut performance from Zello on Sprout. So that means they're now in that upper bracket semi-final, which is the match to confirm their Pro League spot. It's one of these two teams that will be facing for it. And Eternal Fire wants it to be them coming back in a vengeance here. What I believe was 12-5, I think. It's now 12-9. Mid being taken. Santares has moved up. But Kaluba's on the other side of the top. Taken down for free here. Oh my goodness. Calyx has... I've never seen a bigger save in my life, apart from when I watched James save on Inferno, of course. But that was an absolute bailout from Calyx. Wow. How is Antares alive?
Things do go a little bit quiet, a little bit ominous. A couple of flashes coming through. What do Eternal Fire do from here? They've got the numbers to work with. Duplicates is still lurking. And he spotted the bomb. It's dropped in the open like a present as he sees it roll in front of him. And a pop shot from the AWP. This is really, really dicey, but thankfully Major steps up for a double. That's huge. As the bomb goes down too, little do they know. And over, lurking, is Xantares waiting for his opportunity. He might just get it.
Yeah, and as you say, I mean, little do they know, Collins, he has no idea that they're all so low, really. It would have been a slight chance if he had a kit, but as you say, this save attempt is about to be cancelled out unless he switches round in a matter of seconds. Right now he's in a pretty decent spot, actually. Not something you necessarily hard clear. Let's see how far Xantares pushes forward. Here we go. Does he check his left? Does he check his right? He does. See you later, Collins. Eternal Fire up to 10. Just 2 behind. The comeback has been real. We're seeing why this map is heavy T at the moment. And the money for Partizan is in a half-buy state. The gap could be won in a matter of moments.
Yeah, this is really, really interesting now. I mean, Partizan, they are not getting a sniff in at all. Their CT side has been, well, not that great. It started off all right. The pistol looked very, it was chaotic but convincing. And, of course, the force buy is just a natural expectation to go the way of the firepower. Now, though, since we've had full buys on display, it has been one side, and even seeing Major come into the fight as well and netting himself some pretty impressive kills. X-Cloud at one point was like 0-6, hadn't even got a kill, and we were getting very worried about this team underperforming and not showing up, to the stage when it mattered most on their map pick. Thankfully, where we are now, it's looking pretty good. Unfortunately, though, I feel like we may be in a tech pause.
Yeah, this is a bit of a longer one than we usually expect, but hopefully we'll get it all sorted out eventually. No worries. And yeah, just to confirm, Sprout are now in that upper bracket semi, which is the match to send a team to Pro League. Sprout are one team that are there. We need to see who will face them. It's either Partizan or Eternal Fire. The 2 matches coming up second today are Saw versus Endpoint on the A stream, and 9 with Hades, of course, in tow now, alongside Fours.
I'm very interested to see how Hades continues to run things. We have got an update. We are on a slight tech pause. Only a brief one, though, as Colin has spilled some water on his desk. I can't lie, I've been there many a time. So Colin, I feel you. It's a tough one, especially if you do it on the mouse map, because obviously that changes how things are. So
exactly.
Hopefully he can get that one fixed, or he has another one lying around somewhere. I'm assuming he probably does.
Yeah, Collins just needs to mop up his water. Hopefully that's all it was, because if it's a fizzy drink, that'll make it all the mouse pad sticky and everything. And that is a nightmare. This is why I refuse to have any liquids near my mouse pad or keyboard at any point ever. I will just never take this risk at any point. Maybe it's a bit of OCD, but I don't know.
You say that as I'm looking at a liter of water and a coffee on my mouse mat right in front of me.
I hate
next
you.
to my, literally touching my keyboard. In fact,
you've gone down in my estimation there.
I know you don't like it when people touch your mouse mat, so I remember next time to not only touch it but put a drink on top of it too. So it is what it is. But unfortunately, 10-12, and we're stuck here, Trav.
That's fine. We can have a laugh about drinks on mouse mats and have a little chat.
Exactly.
I hope you guys are enjoying the cast at the moment. This is obviously our first event of the year, so pretty exciting.
Getting rid of the rust, isn't it?
Getting rid of the rust, exactly. Big event as well, because it sends 3 teams to Pro League, for goodness sake. So a chance to go to Malta, have a little bit of a holiday, and a chance to play some nice Counter-Strike as well. Sprout, obviously, as I said, probably the significant favourites. I would say probably Fours. And maybe Eternal Fire, if they continue form like this, will be the other 2 teams that we'll keep a close eye on as the second and third favourites. But 9 with Hades, they've been looking okay. And that's a Polish team that has a lot of history as well. I mean, just look at the 9 roster. Players like K used to be on Sprout, for example. Goofy has been around for a very long time. And of course, I mean, I mentioned Hades already, but he played in Tier 1, for goodness sake. So,
yeah.
You know how good he can be. On Twitter
Honestly,
as well.
I think... Yeah. Oh, of course.
He's a memer.
I think, we mentioned the likes of the Forzas and the Sprouts of the world, but I think the winner of the Endpoint Saw game, in my eyes, guarantees the spot. I think whoever it is, because you got Saw, ECL Season 43 champions.
Yeah.
And you got Endpoint, who qualified last season. And with this this new revitalized roster, what we saw yesterday actually looked pretty good. They look, relatively scary, relatively convincing. So I'm going to throw out there, there's a world in which they are, back and kicking the way we'd expect Endpoint to be. So
honestly,
winner of one of those two. I think that there's a world in which they make it through. Saw have been, pleasantly so good and surprising a lot of people. So it's glad to see them on the upward trend. And of course, for Jerks and Story, FTW qualified to Pro League last season, but Jerks and Story got transferred to Saw before they got the ability to play in Pro League. So they themselves, they want a chance to shine on the big stage.
That would be a great story, wouldn't it? And I think a lot of the talent members that were involved with that story of FTW enjoyed that one a lot. And you've got a jersey.
I've got a jersey. Yeah. I was going to
jersey.
put it up, but I haven't got around to it yet.
You should. It'll make the room accessorize.
Memorialize it. Yeah.
Pretty special. Anyway, we're back underway. Partizan have just the one M4 in this round on this half buy that I mentioned. The semi-final taking a little bit of time. We need to be careful. There's the M4. Thankfully, it only gets one. And it's holding the line from behind his teammates to make sure no one pounces. Rogue is still in the corner. He could maybe pounce at least one because they're not checking it whatsoever. Go, but of course the Deagle nerf from last year comes into effect and the 2 shots wouldn't be enough. I think even from that range with the old Deagle wouldn't have been enough from there. But, got to be accurate these days with that Deagle. That's what makes, I guess it makes the sick headshot clips even more special, right? I like it that way.
100%. Yeah, I agree. I think now it really is sort of a testament of ability. And it's sort of how the Deagle should be, right? I think, we saw prior to the nerf, it was just body spams galore, right? And it was so deadly.
Yeah.
Now, of course, though, it makes it, more impressive. Calyx, though, will fall to the bomb. So it was actually worth going for that little run there. Gets the dink with a 5-7, and the Calyx does fall. I mean, obviously, economy is flourishing over towards the T-side, but, you'll take any sort of silver linings you can get. And look over towards what we're seeing now. Partizan, who are at such a welter lead, 10-5 at the half, then off the back of the break, 2 rounds consecutively, netting up to a 12-5 lead. And we're now stepping up to the plate of Eternal Fire on the possibility of tying this game up 12 apiece.
Oh, I like that grenade from Duplicate. Obviously, we've seen a lot of these thanks to good mate Nart out here. We've seen a lot of these nades being practiced and shown in particular professional games, but that one through the window is always particularly nice because there's always a player, especially on a T default, tends to be around that angle, so you can often chip away some extra health and make your M4s an instant headshot, of course. More took a little chunk from that, but nothing too scary. Now this is a humongous round for Partizan. They need to stop the rot, and it has to be stopped now. Emmy with the AUG, Collins with the A1S, Duplicate and Clib with the A4s. Utility already running a little bit low on the CT side. They've got 3 smokes left with a minute to go. Is okay, but they're about to be smoked off themselves, and Roger is now caught behind that with the AWP. And he's really been locked out well by Eternal Fire in this half so far, it feels like. Collins playing behind the same pillar as last round, but this time he doubles up, gets 2. Really well played, and he takes him a long time for Xantares to clear it out. 3v3, now 2v3, now 1v2 for xFloud. The trades are wild. Roger decides to go aggressive as he was locked behind that smoke, goes through it, repositions, and gets himself a double. And with the bomb in the middle of nowhere, this is so hard for xFloud to cross. Got no utility to do so either. Has to peek directly into it, and Roger even has his USP out to finish the job. What a huge round that is for Partizan. Finally, the streak is stopped.
Yeah, and they needed something, right? They needed just in any way they can, pump the brakes over towards this Eternal Fire just run of madness, right? Where we'd seen this Eternal Fire side come from 7 rounds down to being on the brink of tying the game up. It was already, partially internally looking slightly dead in the water. That maybe Partizan had just hit this mental roadblock and couldn't seem to overcome it. Thankfully, now that they have, And maybe this could change fortune, which was looking like it was setting us up for, you know, even a 2-0 because Partizan just couldn't find any success in the CT side. But now we're hoping that for Partizan, it's, you know, the start of something new. Maybe a little bit of a catalyst going forward rather than just a flash in the pan. If it's a one-off, it's not going to make any difference at all. And of course, money for Eternal Fires, no problems too. All collected by MR, but they've got plenty of cash left in the bank if they need, and a bomb plant to make it even more special. A round one here by the T side shatters the economy of Partizan.
Exactly, because of course that round from Partizan in the previous was only 1 person alive, so the reinvestment was pretty significant. Collins, huge mistake. Zentares down through the edge of that smoke. With the corner of his smoke as well after that opening kill. Partizan stepped up in the previous. As I said, Collins was in that position behind the pillar, close. When he got 1 the previous round, got 2 in that one. That really made the big difference despite the attempts at the immediate trades, and now Rogue is under pressure. Eternal Fire with all 4 players are wandering his way. The utility they've got is ready for a full execute, but if Calyx picks before the flashes, it's going to be a chance for Roger, and there we go. You know exactly where he's stuck. The utility is doing a great job. Overflicks for the second, but he's going to be safe now thanks to that smoke. The flare to help out too, but Duplicate, oh, he couldn't help out in time. And xFloud, who's had a slow game, is stepping up at the perfect time. 3rd headshot, beautiful. 3v2, but the round is still on because Major and xFloud have 13 health between them.
Major, the finest of margins here. And Aiden is near vicinity and he is dead in the water. 44, and there's none over the side of Partizan unless they can pick one up in their treacherous journey back over towards this side. Immor holding over towards heaven. It's looking like the call's been made already. Nobody tried to test the waters, and Trav, they've called it. They've given up a 12th over towards Eternal Fire. Fine margins, but they've made it work. What a round. What a step up. An xFloud individual brilliance for a 3k to his name. It's just a question now of can they survive. Major, he's running away, but he might still fall. He will be okay, thankfully. Thankfully for him. And actually not caught an exit either. So a pretty perfect exit for Eternal Fire. They're 1 round behind. They're hot in their tails, and we're saying for Partizan, please let it not be just a flash in the pan and they'll be okay. And unfortunately, it was exactly that. Duplicates and Emmy do have some saves coming through. They've got the M4A1S ticking over, and of course, thankfully, a FAMAS alongside it. But aside from that, it's not a dreamboat. I mean, for Collins and maybe even Kaluba himself, money isn't exactly pretty. Thankfully, they should have drops coming through. Rogue can pick up 1. Emmy maybe can drop off like an MP9 and make it somewhat justifiable, but this is a really horrible situation. I think it's really the right time to call for attack because, I mean, even I need to have a little think about what's the best plan of action.
Indeed, yeah. It's the perfect time for it. They've used 3 out of their 4 now. Emmy and Collins saving. Duplicate has the gun now. Unfortunately, Duplicate was the man that couldn't help out Rogo when it really mattered. And I think it would be right for us to praise xFloud heavily. As we've said earlier, started, I think, 0-6, 1-8, something like that.
Yes,
He's now 16-16, and that 3k in the previous round basically single-handedly got Eternal Fire through it. And the 3v5 as well, of course. It looks like they're solely focused on A. They're realising that maybe that's a weakness on the Partizan side. And look at all the flashes. They're just going straight in off the back of it. Duplicate's burning with no armour. It's a bit of a nightmare. And he's gone. But there is a big flank coming in from Collins very quickly. He's found xFloud. Bomb can be planted safely, though. And the player toward heaven in Kaluba has been removed. Immor finds him. And once again, Partizan are locked out.
Oh, shot. Immor finding Roger. He tried to go for the elevated boost coming through, and he will fall. And they'll know Emmy's somewhere lurking in the side, or they'll know someone's lurking in the side because he was boosted up. Collins going to fall away. Emmy slowly shift walking his way to quote-unquote safety. But it might not be as easy said as done. We are going to be all tied square at 13 apiece. And what a comeback from Eternal Fire. 7 rounds down. Their story looked done on Anubis, their map pick. But their T side has been indomitable. where we stand now for Partizan. Yes, they've got an AK and an M4A1S ticking over in towards the next, but is it going to be enough to net them some security? Fortunately, they have some money to work with, so it's going to be good. They should have a very comfortable full buy-in towards the next. We actually are going to see Eternal Fire use their final tac ports.
Probably a good time to use it. Partizan have been so impressed with how they've played this game, and they've pushing Eternal Fire incredibly close on map 1. And as you can see, incredibly close on map 2 as well. As I said, they're a team on good form at the moment. They've won their last 5 games, including the BO1 earlier today against Falcons, 16-6. We know that Falcons are probably in the midst of changes. The rumour that's coming out, of course, is that Body is leaving Heat and going to Falcons.
Yeah.
Of course, they're losing Afro to LDLC as well. So Heat are going through a big rebuilding phase ahead of the Paris Major. Important stuff. Huge for these French players, of course. And Partizan showed why they're a team to be wary of in Tier 2 and Tier 3. They're working their way forward on good form. Collins, of course, X4 Glory. Duplicate and Kaluba, both ex-Skade. You know how good Skade were through various points of their history.
Oh, for sure. Safe to say that maybe even Skade can be considered one of the kind of top 3 Tier 2 sides in kind of 2021, basically. They were so good. They themselves, it was Copenhagen Flames and the Tropic, right? They were the 3 big hitters. Sinners at times, but I think with the loss of Oscar, they dropped off a little bit. But
at least they've got him back now.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly.
Saved him from the misery of Titans.
God, yeah, unfortunately what a mess that project was. And this could get very messy here. There you go, holding. Major caught on the swing. And a second foul is all by Duplicate, but quick trade by Calix. And that'll crack open the A side like a walnut.
How's he got that second? That has to have been a spray transfer as Roger tried to reface to get the insta trade. That's not necessarily Roger's fault, I feel like, because that is the way to play it. You've already baited in your M4, then the M4 should bait in you to keep getting that man advantage. But as it is, Xcloud is now holding off this retake. Collins, gun barrel spotted, 1 bullet needed, taken down, Emmy looking for a trade, can't get it, and Calix is holding the flank, Kaluba removed, Emmy 1v3, Grenade removes the first, and he has a defuse kit. He's creeping toward the bomb, but Immor's refusing to peek, and in the end, Calix gets himself 4 kills, a huge quad, and from 12-5 behind, Eternal Fire hit the front for the first time.
Thank God Calix was able to hit that final shot because he completely team flashes Immor there. Just a real floaty flash, and Immor is completely blind. So it was basically a 1 versus 1. Thankfully, Calix has an absolute cork of a round. And at 14-13, this is looking like Eternal Fire are on the home stretch now, and Partizan, unfortunately, on their last legs. 2 rounds. That's all that the T-side need. Only bits of damage coming through. Bit of a spam. Collins will take it, considering one of a tag, and Major just going to fall away off the back of it.
Oh, they're truly rolling the dice now, straight through the underpass smoke. But of course, even slight movements, even while shifting in the water, does make a sound cue. It makes a tiny splash, and if there's any player around and about, it will be heard. And Emmy on his advance to get removed. Xantares adjusts. He's shocked by Collins being there, but he hits the few bullets required. 5v3, sure, a player low, but Immo will be given the AK so Xantares can play more defensive on that low health. And Eternal Fire are creeping toward this finish line, and a match up against Sprout with Pro League on the line.
Very slow, very quiet. Right now, Eternal Fire just trying to use their numbers advantage to make sure that they're close enough to play the trades. The spacing's actually really good in this instance because utility and towards the CT side is pretty minimal. Just 1 Molotov, 1 flash, 1 smoke across the board, and as the utility rains out on towards B, it is just going to be a safe call. There's no way they're going to send the AWP over to test those waters. That means Eternal Fire lock themselves into 15 and maybe Trav locking themselves into guaranteeing a 2-0 in the series. And from what a close competition these two sides have had, I think a lot of credit has to be given to Partizan as well. A very overlooked side by many people, myself included, but they have really come out flying and fighting the entire way. But unfortunately, unfortunately, I think a mental block. The second they hit that 7-round buffer, they just couldn't find any success in their CT side, and it's cost them the opportunity to compete in the series.
Yep. They seem to be on the right track, though. And don't forget, there is a lower bracket, so they will be playing in that lower bracket. No chance for Kluber to save in that corner. Calyx has a right-eye peek, body showing of Kaluba. So that is one of the 2 guns removed. But yeah, Partizan, I would say, going by some of this performance that I've seen today, they're probably a team in the lower bracket to keep an eye on. They can easily make a run, I would say. We shall see.
Yeah,
though.
I feel like they'll be competitive more than maybe a couple others, right? I feel like we've seen some good work
Better
from them,
than
but
Casa, for sure.
yeah, unfortunately, I feel like their story might be finished there, because this has been it's been pretty grim, and of course the buy isn't exactly dreamy. I mean, double FAMAS coming through to support the double M4s and that 1 AWP. It's grim, and they need some miracle.
Well, they do. Can Eternal Fire finish off the job? 12-5 behind to 15-13 ahead. Flashbangs are so good. I've got to give Eternal Fire so much props with how their executes have been played in this T-side half. They've been locking out Partizan time and time again with the combination of Molotov, smokes, flashes, giving them no chance to even shoot back. And now, that grenade, while it may be perfect, they're 4v5. Save the game. Major knows that he shouldn't be peeking that back into the cubby. The trade is instant from xCloud. 4v3. Players coming in. Kluber gets one more. Great shot from Collins. Back into a 2v2. Calyx position shown. He gets removed by Collins as well. It's all down to Immor. Roger's trying to bait him out, and Collins has the defuse kit, so he can just hold this one, and Roger can peek it. There's the first pick. Comes in for the second. On the bomb.
GG.
Immor removes him. Just in the nick of time. Eternal Fire through to the upper bracket semi.
There's been, a couple of questions about Eternal Fire, maybe even more specifically on the AWP, but in that final round, he steps up when it matters most. Well played by Eternal Fire. They were 7 rounds down, 12-5 off the back of that half time, and we were thinking, hey, this is done. Our story continues to a map number 3 to nuke, potentially. But no,